Good afternoon, my 94.7 Gospel Giant family. Welcome to another edition of to Doctor in the Chat Room. We are here today to talk about gun violence in our communities, in our world, and I have a panel of beautiful moms here to talk to us and that are brave enough to share their stories with us, and we appreciate them being here. As I've said, each week we are still in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic, so I hope that you guys are staying safe and using those necessary precautions to be safe and to stay healthy. And if you have not already, please get tested. If you don't know where to get tested, please go to or call or contact your local health department, and they can guide you in the direction of where you need to go to get tested. Again, we are here today with this panel of beautiful women to tell a little bit about their story. I'm going to ask each of them if they would just get started now, and let's just talk about a little bit of who you are, give us a little background, and we will just kind of jump in from there. I have Miss Tyra Thomas. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Okay, my name is Tyra Thomas. My son, Christopher Thomas, was killed February the 8th, 2015. He got into an argument after some guys hit his car. They hit his car and then he followed them to ask for insurance. And they showed guns. And my son got back in his car and then they chased him down and they killed him. He was 22 years old. He was a father of one 3-year-old daughter at the time. And 2 weeks later, we found out his girlfriend was pregnant again. The perpetrators are in jail. They are serving 15 years on a second-degree murder charge. They took a plea deal. We did not agree with the plea deal, but we don't have any choices or say in the plea deals.
Thank you, Tyra. I have Fabio Ford. Thank you, Fabio, for being here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Fabio Ford. My baby, Javari Robinson, in the community, we knew him as Jojo. I lost Jojo October 21st, 2016. He was 13 years old. He was murdered along with his dad. The case is still going. There's several people that committed this crime. We haven't went to court yet, so I don't want to say a whole lot, but that's Jojo. That's my story.
Thank you. Michelle?
Sorry, ladies. My name is Michelle Pugh. My son was Christopher Pugh. Christopher was murdered April the 27th of last year, 2019. He was at the time 23 years old. Christopher was just hanging out with some friends at a bar, which was actually ran by military personnel and civilian personnel. And that particular night, there was a shootout, and he was actually getting away from the shootout and was struck multiple times, and he was the only fatality of that night. Again, Christopher leaves 2 children, a little girl and a little boy, ages 4 and 5 now. And so we celebrate his 25th birthday on this month, June the 17th.
Thank you.
And the case is still ongoing.
Thank you, Michelle. Tara Cash.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tara Cash, and my son, Curtis Lloyd Johnson, was killed April 22nd, 2015, 2 weeks before he graduated from high school. He left school one afternoon and went to a friend's house where there were 3 other young men there. One of the young men had a gun and was playing with the gun. And he was told several times to put the gun down, but he did not. he accidentally or unintentionally shot and killed my son. He was not charged with murder. He was charged with reckless homicide, and he did 90 days in jail for killing my son.
Wow. Thank you. Ms. Harvey?
Yes, hi, my name is Ruby Harvey. I am the mother of the late Clarence Mentor Jr. He was sitting at a friend's house, and a bullet came through the window and it struck him in his neck on December the 10th, 2014. He died 9 days later. It changed my life. Thank you.
Thanks.
And I'm sorry, and then we've been to court. The perpetrator was 19 years of age, got 16 years plea bargain. Thank you.
Okay. Thank all of you again for sharing, and thank you again for being here. I guess, the first thing I want to ask, and I have to say too to Michelle, thank you so much for putting this panel together. I mean, you spearheaded this, and I thank you, and I thank all of you for being brave enough to share and courageous enough. I can't even imagine. So, I have to just say thank you for doing it. I don't imagine that everybody can, and I know that you ladies are using your platforms and whatever platforms you have and your voice for your sons. And when you do that, you're actually doing it for other people that don't have the energies and the courage to do that right now. Speak to that and how you're using it and what you hope to gain from sharing your story.
Okay, for me, this is Tyra Thomas. I find comfort in surrounding myself with other mothers who have lost their children. When Chris died, I mean, that just it killed me. And I didn't know anybody that had really, I knew people, but just personally really knowing anybody who had lost like I had lost. And like 2 months after Chris died, Curtis Johnson died, which is Chris's cousin. And my heart just dropped once I found out Curtis had died. And I went straight to Tara to try to console her. And I'm like telling Tara's mom and her sisters, how can I console her? And I don't even know how to help myself, But I found comfort in surrounding myself with Tara. We depended on each other. I mean, whenever she was down or whenever I was down, we just called in each other and helped each other out through this crisis that we're going through, and we still do it right today.
Do you have other family supports?
Yes, but it's easier. I have like my husband, my aunts, my uncles, my dad. That's support, but when you haven't walked through those shoes, it's hard for people to really understand your pain.
Yeah.
It's more comforting when you know somebody that knows your pain.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think using this platform, because I remember when Fab Baby was murdered, I remember when Ruby's son was murdered, and how my heart ached for them. I mean, I felt like that was a relative of mine. Ruby is my cousin, but when I heard about Fab's baby, it was just so heart-wrenching. So I remember going to the hospital and actually praying for Ruby's son when he got shot. And lo and behold, who would know that I would be in these same shoes? Nobody could have never told me that, because I would always cover my children. Mm-hmm. I believe in covering every day and every night. The Bible says, pray without ceasing. And I was that mother that prayed over her children for protection daily. And so for me to be walking in the shoes and hurting the way that it's unbelievable. I can't even describe unless you the mothers on this call know how that hurt is. But that's how we're connected. It's unfortunate, but that's how we're connected. So I'm grateful that I can, in the midnight hour, if I'm having a problem, I can always call Ruby. I know that door is open. So, and I met Tyra through somebody else. And so I met a tremendous amount of people through this. I say all the time, purpose in my pain, that's my little hashtag. Through my pain, I've met some amazing people, but I know that there's still purpose through even this. There's purpose in this, and God is always going to get the glory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, I'm sorry, I everywhere I go, I tell my story because you never know who you are helping. And I think about, the fact that, like with Doc Fab's son, he's my Sunday school student. And I think about Christopher, Michelle's son. And I know with all of you mothers that's sitting here, I'm praying for you, because losing a child to gun violence is like serving a sentence and you've never done anything. It's like you haven't committed a crime, but it's like you're serving a sentence. And I think about the fact that I tell young people, be respectful, do what mama and daddy says to do. And even with all of that, sometimes your life is taken and you've done nothing. And but I still encourage and ask the young people to stay in the word, because, you can't make it without him, without the Lord. And I tell young people also, be careful who you hang with, because eagles have no business hanging out with chickens. Eagles fly high above the sky. Chickens stay on the ground. So just be mindful. Be careful what you do, who you hang with. And but that's it. And I think about Caitlin. Clarence has one daughter, and I think about how this has changed our lives. His daddy, Clarence Mentor Sr., oh, he cries a lot over his son. And then I call him his bonus dad, Bobby Harvey, and my mother. We lost other people, but not to gun violence, but still we lost 3 people, real close one. Then a year and a half just all together. I got a sister that died, 2 sisters, and then him 3 months later. So I just encourage people to just continue to walk with God and be careful.
Yeah. Tara, you were going to.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, just like Ruby said, I try to be Curtis's voice because I know he's gone. And I want to try to reach as many young people as possible to let them know how much I'm hurt and how much their actions hurt other families. Because when you pick up the gun and you make that decision to shoot, you're not only taking that person's life, you're destroying so many other people's lives as well. So, Curtis left behind a mother, a father, a sister, grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, and so many lives have been changed because of that one bad decision that someone made. So I try to speak and talk to children as much as possible, advocate gun safety, senseless gun violence, and talk to as many young people as possible, because they just don't know how many lives they're destroying by making one bad move.
Yeah, and as Michelle so eloquently pointed out, about how she was trying to step in for the others when she heard that they had lost their sons, not even thinking she'd ever be in those shoes. I have a son who's in his 20s, and I could be sitting in the same seat that you guys are sitting in. And again, every person isn't as brave and does not have the emotional and mental abilities to sit and do what you guys are doing. So again, I just have to keep saying thank you. And I have to apologize, Dr. Ford, for not acknowledging you properly. Go ahead, please.
Losing a child to gun violence is hard. I lost my only child to gun violence. He was crazy about his dad, and his whole thing was, I get to go down my dad's house to catch the bus now. And that morning, every morning, and JoJo was just so sweet. And I'm not just being biased. He was just a sweet, respectful baby, child. And now when I write in my journal every night and when I get up every morning, my thing is I'm gonna live my life like how JoJo lived his life. JoJo had this big smile. JoJo wouldn't let anything bother him or worry him. And that's my purpose, because I've been asking God, what is my purpose? I don't have my son. What's my purpose? I was a mother. Well, I'm still a mother, but my baby is gone. And what's my purpose? And I've been asking him, God, I want to know what's my purpose in life. And I didn't know, but at the time, I was a high school assistant principal. Before JoJo passed, I was moved down to elementary, knowing that I needed to be surrounded by those babies every day. My babies, they're getting me through, because they coming up giving me a hug from a child. I can't get hugs from my baby, but my elementary babies, and everybody know I refer to my school babies as my babies. I don't say those are my students. I say my babies. And I'm glad God placed me there. But my purpose now is I'm still trying to figure it out, but I walk around with this smile, and they always say, you always smiling. But if you've seen JoJo always had a big smile on his face. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. I want to talk about the grieving process, and I know all of you are in different places with that, based on what you shared initially about when you lost your sons. And I want us to talk about that. I want us to talk about how you're processing it, and I want to talk about how you, what advice do you offer other mothers or parents in this same situation to help them sustain. But before we do that, we're going to go to break, and we're going to start there when we come back from break. We are still here on 94.7 FM, The Gospel Giant, and we're talking about gun violence, and we are speaking to a panel of mothers who have actually lost their sons to gun violence. We will be right back in a moment.